أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة التي محمد رسول الله وبارك المكان إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن الأصدق الحديث كتاب الله. For surely the most truthful of speech is Allah's book, the Quran. وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم, and the best one to guide the people to the most perfect understanding and to the most perfect application of what Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala sent down in his book is his messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa shar al-umuri muhdathatuha, and the most evil of affairs are those newly invented matters that the people have introduced into this deen. فَإِنَّ كُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدَعٍ, for surely every newly invented matter in this deen is an innovation. وَكُلَّ بِدَعَةٍ دَلَالَةٍ, and every innovation is on a pathway leading astray from Allah's path. وَكُلَّ دَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ, and every pathway leading astray from Allah's path is in the hellfire. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says in Surah At-Tawbah verse 71, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ, the men and the women of Iman, they are loyal supporters of one another. They practice the Islamic Wal-Bara. They love for Allah's sake, and they hate for Allah's sake. And Allah Azza wa Jal has made love for one another to be deeply rooted in their hearts. Surah Maryam, verse 96. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. It's narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man ahabba lillah, wa abghada lillah, wa ata lillah, wa mana'a lillah, faqad istakmala al-iman." The one who loves for Allah's sake, and hates for Allah's sake, and gives for Allah's sake, and deprives for Allah's sake, is the one who has complete and perfect iman. It's narrated that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, "Man ahabba fillah, whoever loves for Allah's sake, wa abghada fillah, and hates for Allah's sake, wa wala fillah, and makes alliances for Allah's sake, wa ada fillah, and makes enemies for Allah's sake, tanalu walayatullahi bidhalik." Then that's the only way for you to achieve the friendship of Allah. وَلَنْ يَجِدَ عَبْدٌ تَعْمَ الْإِيمَانِ وَإِنْ كَثُرَتْ صَلَاتُهُ وَصَوْمُهُ حَتَّى يَكُونَ كَذَلِكَ. No one can achieve the true Islamic Iman without achieving Allah's friendship first, even if they pray a lot and fast a lot. وَقَدْ صَارَتْ أَمَّةُ مُوَاخَاةِ النَّاسِ على أمر الدنيا وذلك لا يجدي على أهله. Today, The people are in relationships and love only for worldly reasons that will not benefit them on the day of resurrection, on the day of judgment. Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Zukhruf, verse 67, Al-Akhila'u yawma idhin ba'duhum li ba'din adu. On the day of resurrection, everybody who are friends in this life, everybody who loved each other in this life will be enemies on the day of resurrection. Illa al-muttaqeen, except for the people of taqwa, except for the sincere, pious, devoutly obedient worshippers of Allah Azza wa Jal and followers of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The only real and true love is the eternal, everlasting love. And the only eternal, everlasting love is between the people of Iman and Taqwa, is in this life and in the next life to come for eternity. May Allah Azza wa Jal help us to be the people of Iman and Taqwa. May Allah Ta'ala help us to be the sincere, pious, devoutly obedient Muslims. Al-Akhila'u yawma idhin ba'duhum li ba'din adu. Every friendship, every love that exists for a purpose other than for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal will turn to enmity and hatred on the day of resurrection. Surah Abasa. قال الله عز وجل فإذا جاءت الصاخة يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه. The kuffar only believe in this life of this world, and the love that they share between one another can only last for as long as they live on the earth. But their love for each other is only superficial and temporary because they don't love Allah Azza wa Jal, our Creator. They don't love Allah Azza wa Jal, the Creator of this life and the next life to come. They don't love for Allah's sake. The proof that you love Allah Azza wa Jal, the proof that Allah Azza wa Jal loves you, is that you are the devoutly obedient follower of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Surah Al-Imran, verse 31-32. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. How can you justify on Yawm al-Qiyamah hating who Allah Azza wa Jal loves? How can you justify on Yawm al-Qiyamah hating the devoutly obedient followers of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam? قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ. And Allah Azza wa Jal does not love the kuffar. So the love that the kuffar share is shallow and temporary, based on emotions and feelings from shaitan. Surah Al-Ankabut, verse 25. مَوَدَّةَ بَيْنَكُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا ثُمَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يَكْفُرُ بَعْضُكُمْ بِبَعْدٍ وَيَلْأَنُ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْدًا وَمَأْوَاكُمُ النَّارُ وَمَا لَكُمْ مِن نَاصِرِينَ. The love between the kuffar is only in the life of this world. But on the day of resurrection, they're going to disown each other and curse each other. And their abode will be the hellfire. And there will be nobody to help them. If you are a person of Iman and Taqwa, then you are the superior person. Your Islamic belief, your Islamic standards and values and morals are superior and beyond reproach. Surah Al-Imran, verse 110. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas ta'muruna bil-Maruf wa tanhawna Anil-Munkar wa tu'minuna billah. And you are unapologetic, uncompromising, even though the kuffar and the hypocrites hate it. Surah Al-Qalam, verse 10. Waddu law tudhinu fayudhinun. They wish that you would compromise with them, so they too would compromise with you. As long as they are inviting you to commit sins and kufr, then their love for you is fake and superficial and satanic. A kafir or a hypocrite claims to love you while constantly inviting you to kufr and to follow the satanic pathway to the hellfire. But your love for Allah Azza wa Jal, your love for Allah's Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your love for the Quran causes you to constantly invite them to Al-Islam and to follow Allah's pathway to paradise and to an eternity of everlasting love. Oh, you believe the Quran. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 120, وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. The Jews and the Christians will never be pleased with you until you follow their lifestyle. The Jews and the Christians will never be pleased with you until you follow the kufr that they desire for you to follow. They only love their desires that they invite you to follow. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, Qul inna hudallahi huwal huda. Say, verily Allah's guidance is the only correct guidance to follow. Allah's guidance is the true guidance. It's the straight guidance. It's the perfect guidance. How is it even possible for kafir love to be real? They are constantly inviting you to commit sins and to live in kufr because their love for you is fake. So Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says next, وَلَئِنِ اتَّبَعْتَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ بَعْدَ الَّذِي جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ مَا لَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ وَلِيٍّ وَلَا نَصِيرٍ. And if any of you Muslims were to follow the desires of the Jews and the Christians after you acquired knowledge of the Quran and the Sunnah, then you would have no protector or helper against the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal. Surah At-Tawbah, verse 24. Qul in kana aba'ukum. Say, if you love your parents more than you love Allah and His Messenger and Jihad, وَبَنَاؤُكُمْ, and if you love your children more than you love Allah Azza wa Jal and His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Jihad, وَأَخْوَانُكُمْ, and if you love your siblings more than you love Allah and His Messenger and Jihad, وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ, and if you love your spouses more than you love Allah and His Messenger and Jihad, وَعَشِيرَتَكُمْ, and if you love your blood relatives more than you love Allah Azza wa Jal, more than you love Allah's Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, more than you love Jihad, فَتَرَبَّصُوا, then wait, حَتَّى يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ, until Allah Azza wa Jal commands the day of resurrection to come, and you're going to hate each other and curse each other. وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الْفَاسِقِينَ, and Allah Azza wa Jal is not guiding those who are rebelling against submission to do the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. Surah Abasa. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الصَّاخَّةُ, and when Allah Azza wa Jal commands the day of resurrection to commence, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ, and that day the individual will run away from their siblings, وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ, and will run away from their parents, وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ, and run away from their spouses and their children, لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. On that day, they will have too much to worry about. It will be every man for itself. وَوُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ مُسْفِرَةٌ. And on that day, the people of Iman, the people of Taqwa, their faces will be bright and cheerful. ضَاحِكَةٌ مُسْتَبْشِرَةٌ. They will be laughing and giggling and rejoicing at the good news of an eternal, everlasting life in paradise. وَوُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَلَيْهَا غَبَرَةٌ. And other faces on that day will be gloomy and miserable. تَرْهَقُهَا قَتَرَةٌ. And darkness will cover them. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَفَرَةُ الْفَجْرَةُ. They are the ones who refused to follow the true and pure Al-Islam that was taught, understood, and practiced by Allah's Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah tabarak wa ta'ala help us to see the truth and help us to follow the truth. And may Allah tabarak wa ta'ala help us to see the falsehood and help us to avoid following the falsehood. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم.